Hello, welcome to today's topic. Something really interesting and something I think is really a bother to a lot of Nigerians, and that is nepotism. Nepotism simply means giving positions to your family members and associates, to your folks, because you are in power or you're in an influential position or a position of leadership. So you allow your family members to get into positions. That's what you call nepotism. But in today's topic, I'm going to even make that nepotism definition wider to include your cartel, because we're going to look at Nigeria and what is obtainable. And on top of that, as an addition, we're going to look at the corruption in the judiciary, talking about Senator, I don't know if I got the name right, but Bukawasha, something, the senator that said he influenced his wife, who is the former president of Court of Appeal, on decisions he made while in office, or while the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeal was sitting. Now, for those who don't understand the import of having a credible judiciary. Judiciary is the highest level of democracy. Is the last hope of the common man. Is the only power the common man has in terms of fighting for his rights or her rights, or the people's right in this case. For Peter Obi's case or his fate, it lies in the judiciary. If the judiciary says Tinubu remains president, he remains president. If judiciary says the election was sham and we have to run for a new election, then we do that. So it's very important to understand the role of the judiciary as it concerns Nigerians. I don't know if I should leave the light on or off, if we can even stay in position. But yeah, so okay, let's see if that works better. So in today's topic, there's a lot that is going on in the first few weeks of Tinubu being in power. A lot of these things that he's signing, don't make any mistakes, they are not his own ideas. They are purely things that have been packed, that we expected people like the former president Buhari to sign into law, or things that should have been done before, which has not been done. So say for example, the student loan was Senator Bajamila's brainchild when he was in the House of Assembly. So being nominated as the chief of staff, he is now, of course, being that close to the president select, President Tinubu, by Yakubu Mahmoud. Of course, we know. If not, he has now been, is now signed into law, because he's now close to the number one in the country. So that cannot be attributed to Tinubu's idea. The only idea that I know is coming from Tinubu is recruit 50 million youths into the military and give them abado, corn, and what have you. So when you see him sign all these things into law, please don't attribute any of these ideas to Tinubu. Tinubu, as far as I'm concerned, is a feeble man who is really sick and needs to be in an old people's home. But let's just say he's a figurehead surrounded by intelligent people, as you may call it, right? We are here to discuss some of his policies, make sure we keep talking about these things. These are not time for us to sort of allow government to do whatever they like for 8 years and wait for another messiah another 8 years. No. This time we are going to be hitting back, discussing every topic, discussing every policy, and also see if these guys are willing to listen. and let's fix Nigeria together, because Nigeria is a very complex place, whether you like it or not. Sometimes I feel like these guys don't know what to do or how to get this issue sorted. So now, when it comes to nepotism, you have Tinubu as the president of Nigeria, no, president-select, bear in mind, until the court finish their verdict, then we can actually, know who is the real president, who won the election. Now, you have the wife as the first lady, with her own ADCs, having meetings with the former CBN governor Emefiele. On Emefiele, I'm not trying to justify, I'm not one of those that would justify him. I mean, everybody that I've seen speak about Emefiele have always said that he has got things wrong. The man might be corrupt. But like, in every cartel, say for example, some gang commit a crime, sometimes they themselves that are in the gang will kill one of their members because they're trying to keep the person's mouth shut, or they don't believe that person can keep quiet, if that makes sense. So they fire the person permanently. And sometimes people in gangs can actually say, this one is greedy, let's get rid of this one. Or do you understand? So that APC is fighting the Emefiele, who is also ABC, because of course he went to APC. He wanted to be the president. He wanted to be a president, to run for presidency under the APC. He went for the APC primary without even resigning, and that's contradictory to the constitution. So again, APC removing him or sacking him does not mean he is now a good man. All right? Whether it's a personal vendetta or not, what we all know is that Emefiele's cupboard is not clean. Yeah, he's got skeletons in them, and at the same time, coming back to what I was talking, so Tinubu, because his wife Remi, who was also senator before, he was senator before. Of course, we know these people don't believe in being voted for. So they grab power. That's what Tinubu believes. Grab power. That's what he believes. That's his philosophy. So he's grabbed power. His wife grabbed power, and also his daughter, I hear, wants to be the Iyaloja or whatever of not just Lagos but the whole Nigeria. I don't know what that means. Whether Iyaloja of, are you trying to say you're going to be Iyaloja in Onitsha as well? Bless your soul if you go down there and claim anything, or in the entire Southeast for that matter. So again, that's what you call nepotism. When you allow, Sheyi, your son, to have access to government, assets like the Rekito Gate and make money from them and all of these things, that's what we call nepotism. So when you look at somebody like P2B said that while he was in power, there was no first lady office. Nobody, his children were not access to any government, resource. When you look at Buhari's daughter was in a parastatal. His wife was not just first lady, but first lady from abroad. He was doing like remote working. He was working from Dubai for months, years. So that's what you call nepotism. We remember when his son had accident. It was not even anywhere to be found in terms of. In fact, we don't know how the story went. Well, we know that he was gone abroad and everything to get medical care, and that was the only thing we knew about the son. So a lot of things are just hidden. Money is changing hands. So there's a lot that goes on, especially when we talk about nepotism. It's all linked to corruption, because when your family member is stealing, you don't do anything. It's more or less like you're giving that person a right to be corrupt, or a right to embezzle, or a right to, and that's how we see these people buying houses that are worth millions abroad. So that's said, yeah. What should be the best practice? What should we do? Should we have a constitution or a law passed, or a bill passed into law to prohibit serving officers or serving members of, say for example, in the case of this senator Bukashiwa, this name is really hard for me to pronounce, Buka whatever, the man that said his wife helped his colleagues to have their way. I mean, how can you even come and say that on the floor, being televised to the whole nation? There's no fear of consequence. There's no fear of things coming back to him, and since then nothing has happened. I mean, we saw a message that, is it Nigerian Justice Council or NBA are trying to investigate him, and they're calling on the police and the ICPC to sort of investigate Bukashiwa. Can't pronounce his name. But what the point is why do we allow this kind of corruption? And how do we deal with this kind of thing? If the judiciary system cannot be independent and be unable to be influenced by politicians, then the country is destroyed. There is no democracy. Because, bad as it is that our elections are really flawed and we are all accepting it. People are now moved on from even discussing all the evil that happened. In fact, nobody talks about Yakub Mahmoud. People believe that it's all bygone now. And people are now accepting Tinubu with all his rubbish policies, because from the first day he failed on arrival, he shouldn't have mentioned anything, subsidy, because subsidy has been already removed 1 year since June 2022, according to Meli Kyari from NNPC Limited, the CEO. He said, of course, that government has not paid any money to them in terms of subsidy. No check has been given to NNPC for over 1 year. Also, in the appropriation bill for 2023, is meant to be stopped, in end of June. So you come into power end of May, you have 1 month to go, you shouldn't mention anything about subsidy. Immediately he said that. Now the argument is that our stock market is appreciating, but then the down effect of that is that the people that are making the stock market appreciate are the ones suffering at the bottom level. The common man, the fuel price have skyrocketed, even more expensive than America. Do you understand? People are buying because for $1 something you can get a gallon, which is like 4 times a liter. Now a liter in Nigeria is now costing about for some places 600, some places 500. So that's more than going with the black market rate. That's even more expensive than what people buy for in America. And you cannot compare America's GDP to Nigeria. In fact, Nigeria is now recording about 24% of what they call I've forgotten the indices now, the metric. So our inflation is even getting worse, right? Even worse than anywhere in the world. We have the world, highest number of poor people living under poverty. And then on top of all of that, what's his name? Dangote went to see Tinubu today because Dangote lost billions. Immediately he signed that unification of the Nigerian exchange rates into law. Dangote lost billions. He's now gone to number, is it 94? From 50 something, about 51 to 94. Don't quote me on this. I can't remember what I read because I've been listening to so many things, trying to gather information from everywhere as much as possible. Now, Dangote have lost so many billions. He's dropped on the Forbes list of the world richest people. In Africa, he's lost his lead. So Dangote has lost billions because of that unification. And I checked the rate of pounds to naira today. 5.8 billion. Imagine how much he lost in a day. 5.8 billion. Right? Now, don't forget Dangote is heavily funded by shareholders and stockholders, right? Or stakeholders. So now he's gone today to see Tinubu. This is how important policies are. Anything you say as a president, anything you sign, have a direct impact and effect. Okay, fair enough. I don't care what happens to Dangote. Let me be clear. So if he hits Dangote, I'm even happy. Let me be clear. But what we're trying to say is that, has that helped the poor man as he's hitting Dangote? Has he helped the poor man by unifying the rates? And that is the next thing I'm coming to. I just checked the rate. Naira to pounds on black market today, on our normal exchange rate, if you want to send money to naira, still today stood at naira 75, which is worse. That's the highest. So as Tinubu took power, things are getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So I don't know how people say he's hit the ground running. Running to where? Yes, he's working, he's signing things into bill. Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about his 20-member advisors. He's already named 8 of them, right? I appreciate that you want advisors. That's a good move. But why do you need 20? You have your ministers. So you have all these ministry, which have ministers, which also are part of your cabinet, and you have then another 20 to the number. Now, that 20 will sit as a buffer between you, the president, and your ministers, because they're going to be on top. So you have the presidency, or the president, because they're all part of the presidency. You have the president, so instead of having the ministers, you have the president and you have all these 20 advisors before you then have the ministers. That's the hierarchy now, right? Why do you need 20? I like the idea. Have advisors, but you don't need 20 of advisors. It doesn't make any sense to me. And who are the advisors? Aleke, same old, same names, right? Nihu Ribadu. Now, I cannot judge everybody on that list because we don't know these guys. We don't know what they've done. People have not been interested, especially young people have not been so interested in politics as it is now. So any name that come up now, whether the artisans are good or not, we need to start watching from what they do going forward. So everything that Tinubu has done has actually been wrong. Mentioning subsidy on Inauguration Day, bad move. Yeah? The subsidy that was removed, there was no subsidy. So it's a charm. It was like a word used to embezzle 7 trillion or 9 trillion every year. So that one is like you shot yourself on your foot because there is no impact. You're not saving any money. That money have not been spent, so there is no money you are saving it actually, right? Now, Asere Dokubo came today to meet Tinubu, and Asere Dokubo said the exact same thing that P2B has said, which I've said in my video when I spoke about security and oil theft. The military are responsible 99%. The same thing Tom Polo said. The military 99%. So again, I posted, because the thing is, listen, I don't care who fixes Nigeria. Even if it's Nnamdi Kanu that fixed Nigeria, or at least Biafra, I'm good. If it's Buhari that fixed Nigeria, I'm good. Or if he's fixed it because he didn't. If it was Yar'Adua, I'm good. Anybody, Obasanjo did all he could to pay all our debt. Obasanjo tried so much for Nigeria, paid all our debt, and now the idiots that drag us back into the well of debt, have brought us to this low level. Now the challenge is on another Yoruba man, Tinubu. Obasanjo did it. Tinubu do it. Yes, if Obasanjo could save Nigeria from debt, let another Yoruba man, Tinubu, do the same. Now you created. We are talking about reducing cost of governance, and you are incurring more. See, I don't know. See, Nigeria is complex. It's highly complicated. I think the intentions are good. I think probably they are trying to get it right. But for me, I think there's a personal vendetta here. I think these guys are just changing officials, not for the good. I mean, all these people that are excited, jumping up and down, thinking there's something nice that this government is about. No. Wait for 4 years' time. Wait for 3 years' time. When they will start embezzling money in left, right, and center. Right now, they're just setting the right people in place. What they are doing now is putting their people they can trust. Do you understand? See, there is an organization. Even there's something called organized crime. Even crime can be organized. Even gangs can be organized. There are hierarchies. There is order. Even in the organized crime, in their cartels, there is order. But what we are trying to say is, who are for the masses? How has all these laws? I mean, Peter analyzed very well. I mean, go to Peter Bojele's page, listen to his last live on student loan. I don't have to waste all that any other time trying to discuss it. Yes, I appreciate that something has been done in regards to education. That's a good body language. I appreciate what is done. That's my post. But it is only students that will have access to student loans. And right now, a lot of students in the South want to go to school, but they can't. Every year, people can't get admission. Other people graduate from SS3, write WAEC, come out, and they are joining to the numbers that are already waiting to get admission. So what you have is an accumulative number of students who are overdue for admission and who are trying to get into the universities, and they cannot get into universities because universities have limits. They've been stretched. They can only take, say, for example, I use an example for Uniben. Somebody said can only accommodate 4,000, and 44,000 are applying because federal universities are cheaper than state universities. Even together with the state universities, still yet, because they give very high mark for WAEC, very high mark for JAMB, and very high mark for post-UME. We need to scrap all these things and make it easy for people to get into universities. We need to encourage private universities. If we have to pay subsidy for people to go to school, why not? This whole loan thing, right? If you just oppose it with what we gain here, I mean, I went to masters. Here, if you go to masters, you don't get the maintenance loan, which is free. You don't have to pay that one back. You don't get that because masters is considered as you want do. Do you understand? First degree you can, but I went to first degree as an international student. I didn't have my papers. Well, I wasn't British then, but because I became British and I did my masters, I was allowed to get the school fees, the tuition fees from student loan, and they are taking it from my salary. Before I even get paid, they've already taken the money, so I don't even have to pay it myself. They take the money direct from the employer. Okay, now my father's name doesn't have to come into it. All I have to do is go to the portal and apply. They contact my school. Is this person a student? Yes. They give the money. They pay. They give me the money to pay, and I pay. So I don't understand all these. If your family is owing, go and watch Peter Bojade's life. He discussed it very well. If your family is owing, you can't get the money. If you ever gotten a loan and you've not paid back, you can't get the money. Are you trying to encourage people to go to school or not? This one have to sign, that one have to sign, VC have to sign, Chief Justice have to sign. Oh, come on. Nobody has to sign to get a student loan. Will anybody abuse the system? Yes. There are people, there are Nigerians that are in this UK that are going to school just to collect money. They collect the money and they shop it. They won't pay back. Yes. Some people will be paying very little until whenever they die. So it doesn't mean that there is a system that people will not try to, of course, take advantage of. But at the end of the day, let the genuine ones benefit from it. Don't pay the money to the students if you think they're going to steal the money. Pay the money to the universities. But don't stress people and tell them, after all, free education used to be in Nigeria. There used to be free education in Nigeria. There's some countries in Africa that is free education. What can a human being say they are gaining from Nigeria? Me, personally, that is saying here, I lived in Nigeria 18 or 19 years of my life. What did I gain from the federal government? Apart from polio vaccination. That was the only free thing I got. Every other thing, for education, my parents paid for it. Everything. Including during COVID, the palliative and governments were giving them things for free. They still made people to pay. To come into the country, you have to pay to do it in Nigeria. Pay upon say you don't get vaccination where you are coming from. So Nigeria is a pain on everybody. Even if you meet the criteria, what is the assurance that you would have job? Thank you. That's essentially what Victor was saying in Peter's life. He's come out of uni, he's done his service, no work. Right? Now, you are telling people that are going to school that after 2 years of NYSC, they have to pay. People who have already come out of school are not working. Again, the same thing that is happening. There is a cumulative unemployment. Nigeria has the highest number of employment, about 41%. Jesus Christ. How do you expect people to get the loan and pay back after 2 years of NYSC when you've not given jobs? And then people are trying to defend that nonsense. How can you defend it? So, in as much as I appreciate the body language and the effort in the education sector, that reform, that bill has to be looked into. Yeah? We employ, what's his name? Bajamila. Names it's difficult for me to remember names, but we employ Bajamila, the Chief Justice, to look into that bill again. Right? All those repayment, scrutiny of getting the money, the best way to do this, the best practice, talk to the universities directly. It's only people who are students that will get the loan, right? So talk to the universities. For you to know that this thing is not the best, for those APC members that are jubilating, even ASU and one other organization I've forgotten have rejected it and said that even Tinubu did not start the bill. Like, started during Buhari's tenure, but they kicked against it. So that's what I'm saying, because the 10th Assembly of the Senate and the House of Rep have not started. They just did the inauguration the other day, right? So all of these things that Tinubu just signed are things that have been there, piled up, that Buhari didn't sign. It is not going to work. It's a lip service. Yes, I believe it's a lip service because they are trying to impress, because of the court, the court issues and the proceedings. They're trying to impress Nigerians that they are here to work. Work what? Dangote have lost 5-point-something billion. Pop masses are buying fuel at 500 what do you call it? 500 naira per liter. What effect has Tinubu's policy signed? Student loan are not, it's impossible for you to achieve the criteria. Like, according to what Peter said, there are more things that disqualify you than qualify you. So again, the people that will take advantages of that scheme are people who are already at the top, which is exactly what always happen. Every policy in Nigeria, the people that will gain from it are always people at the top. VC's list. Don't you know there's something called VC's list? And now you are giving VC the right to get loan. That means it's only people on the VC's list that will get the loan. The lecturer's list. what do you call it, governors list. These are the higher mighty in the society. How does a poor man or a poor woman in the village that wants his son or his daughter to go to school, how would they access this loan? That is what we are talking about. How would they access this loan? Now, Senator Bukashiwa, whatever his name is, I don't know for whatever reason he said what he said. But for people that are married to judges to influence their wives, or in any case their husbands who are justices, is the height of corruption. And to come out and say it on the floor, no consequences, no arrest, no nothing, shows that Nigeria is a very useless country. How long are we going to continue like this? The only binding factor for Nigerians is corruption. Once you are corrupt, you will strive in Nigeria. Even if you're in politics, once you are corrupt, you will go like this, boom, 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 boom. They will believe, he's being loyal, he's a loyal man, and people are saying that Tinubu is loyal. Once he gives his word, he will not go back on it. We all know why, what's his name, Okorocha said what he said. Okorocha was trying to vilify, what's his name, Ahmed Lawan, but he himself was vilifying himself, because it's like, he's saying, I need to study how you came back into Senate, but he also is back in the Senate. Two of you ran under APC primaries as presidential candidates, and two of you are back in the Senate. And that is what Shane was discussing with this professor on Channel's Politics Today last night. Why is it that our justice system will allow people, clearly it was stated in the law, in all the guidelines for INEC on the electoral law, that if you run for one post, you can't run for another. How on earth did Akpabio become not just a senator but Senate presidency? Purely because he was the first person to will his vote to Tinubu during primaries. So it was a reward system. That is nepotism. Your cartel is covered. Your friends are covered. Enemies are enemies. And now you're taking the FCC away, and people are clapping for you. Oh, Daddy Freeze broke the news during his life. Tinubu is working. He has sacked EFCC boss. I don't like the guy. I'm not gonna see both Emefiele and what's the name of that EFCC boss, that young boy, Bawa. Both Emefiele and Bawa, I don't care. These guys all have stains all over them. Zamfara government points accusing fingers on EFCC boss. He said that the guy collected or asked for $2 million in bribe. Do you understand? Within 24 hours or 48 hours of Tinubu becoming president-elect or after inauguration, DSS went into EFCC office in Lagos and occupied it and claimed it's their office. Baba, they went to go and clear the file. They know they have everything on him. Both his bullion van, all his cartel movement, they know. They went to remove every incriminating document. But little did they know that that small boy Bawa that was smiling and making sign in the presidential villa have already gotten a picture. That document is on my page, right? Of the file that they have already started, looking into or investigating Tinubu. That file was released after he was sacked. But the problem is, and this goes to Emefiele, this goes to the FCC boss, and anybody that think you want to be part of crime, one day they will think you are disposable, and everybody is disposable as far as crime is concerned. Once they see you as a liability, they will throw you into jail. Look at even Okorocha, the same Okorocha that EFCC broke into his house. Okorocha that his family was praying, calling blood of Jesus, EFCC broke through the ceiling and fell on his parlor. So we need to look at Nigeria and pity ourselves. You see, when P2B said that, because some people came and say, I have some APC friends, by the way, and they said to me, Tinubu is walking. I said to him, P2B is walking through Tinubu. And he didn't understand what I said. Let me tell you, in the UK, there's something called shadow cabinet. You win an election, say for example, Conservative win an election. Labour will form what they call shadow cabinet with other parties. The same way you have Prime Minister, you have this one. You have this minister, you have another one in shadow cabinet. That shadow cabinet will be criticizing every policies you guys make. Criticizing every policy. So in Nigeria, what is our shadow cabinet? How do we criticize every policy that come out? That is what the presence of Peter Obi did. And when you look at Anambra State, when he was taking Ngige to court, because Ngige was not elected, he was selected by the godfathers in Anambra State. So when he came, he saw that that Peter Obi was taking him to court for 3 years. What did Ngige did? Ngige started working. People were like, well, Anambra State have money because somebody Niju was a criminal. Niju was stealing money anyhow. That I'm pure water in the market. When he comes to the market, they will throw pure water on him. So everybody thought there was no money in this politics. But when Ngige came, because of Peter Obi firing him in the court, this guy was building road everywhere, doing so many things. So Ngige did a lot of work. That is what we see that is happening. Just that Tinubu is getting his own wrong because the man is clueless. He's of course an old man. They're supposed to be in old people's home. We don't know who is running the government, whether it is the cabinet, or be his cartel, or his wife. You can pick and choose whoever you think is the one running. But you can't tell me that any of these ideas is Tinubu, even though he's listening to people. That's why, of course, that's why he wants to go and get 20 advisors. His brain cannot compute anything. Call him genius all you like. For me, he's not. All his policies have backfired. Subsidy has increased the price of fuel. His statement of subsidy, that he could have just kept quiet and read what he brought out that is supposed to be his statement, be his address. Second one, student loan. The student loan is a sham. It's a trap. Somebody says it's a trap. Sandy said it's a trap, and I believe it. It's not just a trap. ASU has kicked against it. Universities have kicked against it. It does not help them. Students are kicked against it. It does not help the poor man. Do you want poor? Do you want PO or good governance? I want both. PO will give me good governance. See, let me tell you something. There are some moves that I calculated and I said, okay, good move. I said I appreciate Tinubu on student loan because of the body language that at least something is going in the direction of education. But again, you don't just bring out processes because you want to bring out processes. You have to think it through. You have to make sure it helps the common man. See, anything government is doing, you have to put the common man first. Any policy you are bringing out and you don't, you see, immediately this thing hits Dangote and he lost that billion, he rushed to the. They said since Tinubu started, you see that Castle Rock is very busy. Very busy. Everybody is going. Do you know why Dangote went to go and see him? He lost money. You are trying to unify. I've said this thing many times. If you want the economy of Nigeria to improve, first of all, deal with corruption. Asero Dokubo have told you the same thing Tompolo said, that many security experts have said. The military are corrupt. Fair enough, you are bringing advisors. You don't need 20 for crying out loud. You are increasing the cost of governance. The senators in Nigeria are the most lucrative in the whole world. Our senators in Nigeria are the most paid, half of their money, for crying out loud. Remove all these nonsense allowances. One senator will have four PAs. For what? For what? All the A's of it. If you want if you want nonsense that they are doing there, we don't know what is the effect of the Nigerian Senate. Why do we even need two? You have senators, you have House of Rep, Federal House of Rep. What do we need the two for? Do we need two houses? How many times have they renovated their building? After spending billions on renovating, rain fell and water was everywhere. They are still renovating even till today. Senators that will jump gate, jump fence. Let's tell ourselves the truth. The main problem is corruption. But how can you fix corruption when you yourself came into power through corruption? And what we are saying is settlement is just central people with positions. I'm just waiting. The day he names FFK as minister, the whole world we know that something wrong with him. Or you go and name MC Oluomo as Minister of Transportation. About people in Nigeria. So what he's doing is not trying to give us good governance. We know that. Everybody is looking at them. They should work in part-time. You are right on that. Of course. How many of them is actually doing consultations? They give them 2 days off in a week to go and consult. How many? See, every part of government must be digitalized. You know, get as you want to do. This student loan is supposed to be digitalized. Put it on the website. Tell people this is how to apply. You apply, put your admission student this thing, confirmation number on the website. The government talks to the school, confirm that you're a student, this is how much you're supposed to pay, they've paid your school fees, they send you a letter, you go to school. And which one is that you're giving them 2 years to go and pay? In the UK, if you finish school with student loan, if you don't get a job for 100 years, you won't pay for 100 years. Shengbang. Even if you get work and your pay grade is not above a certain average. Of course, say for example, I borrowed 13,000 and I'm working, my annual income is like 25,000, or say minimum wage 22,000. My student loan will not collect sheshe from my money until I hit something probably in the region of say for example 25,000 or the 26,000 or 28 or 30,000. Then they will say, okay, at least you are getting above the average. Okay, we'll start collecting 250. If you are going up in your income, they will be increasing how much they collect every month. If it takes 10 years to collect that money, it will take 10 years. So you can't come and tell people you want to give student loan and you are giving them, you must start paying after 2 years. In your employment, where is the employment? Nigeria employment is, see, look at Ngige, Minister of Labour. What did he achieve? Nigeria is now wallowing as the highest unemployment. What is all this nonsense? I think they should make politics uninteresting financially. Then we will see. God bless you. They know that is what P2B will do. Again, I'm going to say something good about Tinubu. I read something. I don't know how true it is. It's still a speculation anyway, so I'm not going to give it to me I'm not going to give it to him as a what do you call it? As an accolade yet until he does it. I heard he wants to merge NIMASA, Federal Inland Revenue System, Nigerian Customs together to increase tax. If they can merge it, it is a good move. Nigeria have so many stupid government parastatals and they are just eating money. Stupid people, I'm telling you the honest truth. Nigeria have so many nonsense parastatals. What is the job of NIMASA? What is the job of Federal Internal Revenue? What is the job of Custom? And where is the money going? Next suggested that, yes. You see, in as much as I feel like that 20 advisors is too much, there's nothing wrong with having advisors. I appreciate that one. Yes, we should have advisors. My problem is, why do you need 20? You already have ministers of all these ministries that are going to be advising you. You don't need 20. What we're supposed to be doing is merging all these government parastatals. When you merge NIMASA with Custom, let all of them look after the revenue. And what's his name? Barry did this thing. He created a single federation account. Let everybody pay into the federation account. If really why they collected Emefiele is that Emefiele, because what Emefiele was saying is what that useless minister for finance during Buhari's tenure. Minister of Finance is talking one thing, Emefiele is talking another thing, NNPC is talking another thing. States were not getting allocation. You know this allocation they go to Abuja to collect every month. States were not getting it for the longest period. If you guys didn't know. That's why they don't want to digitalize Nigeria. Ghost workers, ghost students, ghost everywhere. I'm telling you. I met somebody that said that he have resigned. He's abroad, he's in America. He said he has resigned from whatever position they gave him. I don't know whether he was working as a foreign whatever. From Nigeria. Yet they're still paying him. So, when you are working for Nigeria, I don't even know whether they do audit. They pay. Some people they go, oh, some people they go pay after 6 months. I also know somebody in Abuja that said that he got a job, he started working, and he's still begging for money. And I'm like, I thought he started work. He said they've not paid him. And he went to go and ask for his money after 2 months. They said they are waiting for the new government. So, when you are working for Nigeria, you don't understand what is happening. They don't know who is old staff. They don't know who is existing. They don't know who is pension. And you see all these people, when they come on TV, you're asking them, they will be talking nonsense. The other time, the woman that was in charge of pension came on the channels. He was talking utter rubbish. One woman was complaining that he has not gotten her money. The other one was saying sometimes it's technical error. Which technical error? Pay people. Somebody that have left the service is telling you that they are still paying him, even though he's resigned many times and told you, stop paying me. They are still paying him. Nigeria. Nigeria. It seems as even if you have a good church mind and you want to walk, you come there, you look at how enormous, you will just get tired and weary. You will just allow things to be going wrong. Because it's a collective effort. Everybody has to chip in from all quarters. But it's as if our mind, it's like what the freeze always say. You want somebody that you will complain that government is corrupt. Award, corruption will come in. They will rig award, they will rig this, they will rig. And that is the problem. Ordinary union or ordinary groups or ordinary this thing that you find yourself, what are you doing to make sure that there is no corruption, that things are done fairly? It's us as a people. We have corruption in our gene. Here in the UK, everybody is doing the right thing, whether anybody is watching or not. People say the truth. People abide by the laws. Why can't we be good people? Good people upon all our church, mosque. Criminals everywhere. So going back to topic, nepotism should not be allowed. Maybe we should pass a bill. If your family member is a civil servant, you should not be in another service. So you will not have any conflict of interest. Yes, it's called conflict of interest. I know what I'm saying because I work in a government agency myself. Right? There's something called conflict of interest. You can't be doing something, you can't be working with a body that gives contract and also own a contract company or also own a company that can get that kind of contract. It's conflict of interest. Nigeria, our senators have companies. They will give it to their children, and then they will make their children or their in-laws or their protege or their proxies to get that job. And then you will see that nothing is done. We need to put a bill that stop all those kind of nonsense. If you're applying, for example, you want to apply for the NHS, they will ask you, are you a member of this organization? Are you affiliated to anybody in this organization? Is your papa or mama working here? Not that they will stop you, but they want to know. To make sure on your interview date, it won't be your mom interviewing you. And the process is fair enough. They need to reduce the amount of churches in Nigeria. Most of them are not helping. My sister, let me tell you, church is a business. And people are using church to feed. Church is a hustle. If you close churches in Nigeria, what will all those pastors do? They will turn native doctors. In fact, the number of native doctors on Facebook now are now chasing the number of pastors, if not overtaking them. We have more native doctors, spiritual people on Facebook now, more than churches. So which way are you going to go? If you close churches and there are more native doctors, Nigeria is impossible. Nigeria is impossible. Do you know how many times I've given up on Nigeria? When you hear people say Nigeria is cursed or that Nigeria is irredeemable, it is because of something. You keep dragging, the thing will be falling. I don't know what is the solution. Go on Facebook and type S1. They're full everywhere. Everybody is a spiritual healer. Everybody is a native doctor. And do you know what? They are making billions. Especially the Igbo ones. They are making, when I say billions, you will see them showing off money, their cars, their houses. Where do you think Yahoo boys are getting powers from? Is that one, is it the one we are going to face? I beg, allow pastors, so it's a business. Allow them. They should tax churches, they own nuisance value. You're not supposed to tax churches. Churches are supposed to be charities. Churches are supposed to be charities. You're not supposed to tax them. If you tax a charity, you see, let's not forget, in Nigeria, a typical pastor is not just a religious leader. A typical pastor can also be, what do you call it, a psychiatric or what do you call it, therapist. Because Nigerians, we don't practice all these mental health help and mental fitness and everything. We don't practice it. So people get problem. The first person they are calling is their pastor. Even things you're supposed to go and speak to a psychologist or whatever, every problem, pastor. Do you understand? Yes, a lot of people give tithe and offering, but don't forget that these pastors also help members in the church. There's prayer warrior team, there's drama team. So if you remove church, which is the only one that is really working, because a lot of churches are progressing, whether you like it or not, Nigerian churches, what are you talking? Look at Dunamis, the biggest auditorium in the whole world. Nigerian pastors are the richest in the whole world. In fact, somebody said if you give our pastors the country, they will run it better because they know how to run churches. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say here is, let's allow our churches so. I know that the priest hates pastors, but that the priest should also know that with what he's doing, we are now raising an army of native doctors and SNYs online, which again on its own is another problem. If we have all these traditionalists and all these things, and people are doing juju, young boys now are leaving church, how do you even curtail that one? Because people are scared of juju. Whether you like it or not, juju, people are scared of juju where. So if anybody has juju in their hand and they're talking to you, you are scared. You can't control them, not the way you are talking about pastors. If that if you talk about juju people the way he's talking about pastors, they will off him. So let's leave our pastors there. It's a business, yes. Should they pay tax? I don't think so. They're supposed to be moral, spiritual help to the people. Now, going back to topic. Senator Bukawaya or Buka, his name is just so difficult to pronounce. Owning up that his wife did some favors to politicians should and must be addressed. If truly the NBA have said something to that effect, he should be arrested. He's supposed to name names. The problem with Nigeria is that we don't practice name and shame. Here in the UK, you resign. Nigeria, they wait for you to be sacked. If Emefiele know that he fought Tinubu's coming into power, and now Tinubu is power, why not him honorably resigning? Resigning is a way of protest. Resigning is saying, I don't belong to this nonsense. I don't believe these things are going right. Let me resign. That's why in the UK, during what's his name? Boris Johnson's tenure, a lot of people were resigning. His ministers and his cabinet, everybody was resigning. It was a way of protest. That this man is not fit, he's not doing the right thing, he's corrupt. They were resigning. People say, why are people resigning? Nigeria, minister resign. Which one? Ethiopia, immediately Airbus peace, Air Peace boss, Lenonyema, started pointing accusing fingers on Ethiopia's boss, saying that they approached him to also come into business with them so they can flood Nigeria with their planes and he will be getting a lot of money in royalties. He said no. That's a good patriotic man. But they will use tribalism to be destroying the good of... if you have good mind for Nigeria, they will use tribalism and make you hate the country. Even Igbos are asking the man, why do you love Nigeria so much? Why not focus on Nigeria? Even in Sudan, when he was sending place, they left Nigerians in the university where they picked people and dropped... Sorry, they left Igbos there and carry only the northerners to the evacuation point. And this man is still sending his planes. They are fighting him. Immediately, he pointed accusing figures to the Ethiopian plane. The man resigned. That's how to do things. Ethiopia is an African country. Nigeria, who has resigned as a way of protest that they're not happy with what is going on. If Bawa was trying to investigate Tinubu and Tinubu becomes #1, the first thing you should do is to resign. To say this man is not supposed to be here in the first place. But do you know why? He himself wanted to collect bribe from Zamfara governor. And Zamfara governor has accused him. He is also accusing Zamfara governor. Now the new governor is declaring 9 trillion. How you make 9 trillion? You will count 1 million, 50 million, 100 million, 500 million, 999 million before you reach 1 billion. You will count 500 billion, 100, what do you call it, 1,000, sorry, I said 1,000 billion, 999 billion before you reach 1 trillion, and you have 9 trillion, and your name is not on Forbes list. How you make your money? The new governor of Zamfara. Is it the other one that is a saint? And Zamfara is one? Because Zamfara discovered gold. How is the South benefiting from that asset that Zamfara discovered in their state? But they are milking Niger Delta. Who are the ones corrupt that are making all the money from it and declaring that Nigeria is using how many billion barrels a day? How many million barrels? Declaring how much they are making from oil, which is all wrong and lies. The same northern military heads who are in charge of military. It's not northern people, but their Zamfara gold they said is only for the state, And what we hear, a lot of jets, a lot of planes are landing in Zamfara, collecting our gold and flying away. Who is controlling the airspace? It's not Nigerian Air Force. For the first time in history, Tinubu's convoy will be followed by a fire truck. Do you know why? They're expecting that bomb might be thrown at him. So in a case of any incident like that, they will use fire service that will be following him, because he knows he's going to step on toes in the military. His NSA might not likely be a military man, because our military are the most corrupt. We need to remove military from that, what do you call it, National Executive Council. Our military, you see the likes of Babangida, all these people that have been in military, all these them Buhari, all of them are useless, corrupt people. Asare Dokubo have said it. Tompolo told Goodluck, told what do you call it, Buhari the same thing. So if Tompolo and all these people can say the truth to power, then what should we be doing? Let the military heads, let all of them, all the high-ranking officers come into a room. Give them secret ballots. Let them choose who is the best among them. Whether it's somebody from the south or somebody from the north or somebody from any part of Nigeria, if they all give a secret ballot, secretly, and they vote one person and that person is better, allow that person to be the head. And make sure that these people declare their assets and they can tell you how. See, crime is not hard to find. The only problem is that Tinubu cannot do this thing because Tinubu's hands are soiled. He himself is corrupt. If he attacks the military will attack his ventures. The military will attack his cartel. That's why you need somebody like Peter Obi, who is clean, who is excellent in his ways. So that when he's fighting crime, he will, because the biggest problem with Nigeria is corruption. I commend Tinubu's move to merge FIRS, NIMASA, with Nigerian customers and everything. They should be merged. And all these police agencies, all our security outfits, all of them should also be merged to police. All these are our military, everything should be merged to one. And they should face their front. Deal with external aggressors. Deal with our borders. Enough of all this nonsense. Governance is not too hard. It's just that we have people who hate the country running the country. People who are not patriotic. The other day, MC Oromo went to America to see his son. Why not train your son in Nigeria? Lagos is wonderful. Lagos is good. You are in charge of Lagos. Blah, 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 blah. Schools know their Lagos. Schools know their Abuja there. American schools know there. Canadian schools know there. Let's stop all this nonsense. Pay our teachers. Make it lucrative. There was a time students come to Nigeria to school. There was a time we were kicking other African countries away. There was a time we had the glory of Africa as a continent. University of Nigeria, the University of Nigeria and Nsukka has produced a lot of notable people in the world. A lot. The likes of P2B, Dole Akumili, Soludo, the likes of Chimamanda Adichie. Do you know the caliber of people that went to Nigeria and University of Nigeria and Nsukka? Tinubu is not clean. He has hit the rank running and people are complimenting him. Yes. Because what we had was a dead president in Buhari, both literally, figuratively, and otherwise. The man was dead. In fact, he used his mouth to say he wants to go. And not just go. He's not even going to Daura because that's not where he's from. He wants to go back to Niger, where they've sent a lot of fleet of cars. Nonsense. And now they're telling us his matana came from Niger, blah, blah, blah. Nonsense, Arab nonsense. Nnamdi Kanu has told you that man is not Buhari. So what they are doing is they are using Tinubu to sign. So he's working. But again, all those things is working. What is the effect? Dangote lost billions. Yes. The Naira is still doing worse with his unification, whatever. Releasing Nnamdi Kanu, let Igbo start doing business on Monday. Don't be stupid. There is no other mathematics you want to run. If you leave out the volume, the sheer volume of transactions that's supposed to be happening every Monday in 5 eastern states, you are joking. If the military like, they can go and shoot whoever. You cannot use kinetic force to force people out to come out and do business. These are very tested ideologies that have worked in India. Don't be stupid. Sit at home, sit at home. If I don't want to business, I will do business. I will sit at home. Release the man they're asking you to release. It took only Wole Soyinka, one man, to release Sunday Igboho. Our useless political elites will be doing nonsense slavery movements with the North and will not achieve anything. Look at Orji Zokalo crying. The same man that took Tinubu to his mother, humiliated on the floor of the Senate, crying, I used my money to finance PDP. I created PDP. You created PDP in Abia State. What did you achieve? When he was governor of Abia State, look at Abia State. Look at Abians now. Abians now feel among. We used to insult, Igbos used to look down on Ebonyi State. Look at Ebonyi State now. Look at their roads. Go and see infrastructure in Ebonyi State. You are the one that is a governor. Make your people proud. Aba is supposed to be the China, the Japan, not just of Nigeria, of the whole Africa. They used Orji Zokalo to stampede the progress of that state. No road. If you go to Aba and it's raining, you will fold your trousers to your knee. You park your car anywhere it starts raining, you park your car there. Nonsense people. And you're telling us that you funded. It's like what Soludo is doing in Anambra State now. Using money he's supposed to use to work for Anambra people to go and build APGA Secretariat and boasting that APGA is the only party that has a secretariat that is a whole building in Abuja and Oka. Talking nonsense. Is that why the people select you to become APGA leader? What has APGA has to do with all the problems in Anambra State, for crying out loud? In your 100 days, whatever, you laid out plans of what you want to achieve. Is secretariat one of them? Wasting money. Sometimes you look at very intelligent people doing some unintelligent things. Look at Alex Oti. Saying that on the 28th, everybody will get paid. That is what you call hitting the ground running. That's what you call movement. Cleaning the whole of Aba. Aba people self are the most nonsense people. You put dustbin everywhere. Because this thing is supposed to be synergy between the government and the people. Why are you pouring dustbin everywhere? Aba people need to have sense and work with this governor. What is hard in you guys designating a place and also getting somebody to come and pack it? That is what you call hitting the ground running. You don't hit the ground running by signing policies that does not favor the poor people. It does not favor your rich. It's destroying everybody. You are getting advisors and you want 20 of them to add to the fleet of... We are talking to reduce cost of governance, for crying out loud. We are trying to reduce the cost. Do you know what it... Do you know all these new rules are money? Do you know how much do you think they will be paying all these special advisors? Boy, I don't know, man. Where do we start from? Why can't the government form task force that will arrest them? Yes, in Anambra State, they used to arrest. They call them Ansepa. P2B created one called Ansepa. If they catch you throwing bean outside, they will... Where was I one day? I think it was Enugu. We're in a bus. I drank Coke, or somebody drank Coke, not me personally. Somebody drank Coke in the bus and threw the bottle away. A car rushed us, stopped the whole bus, found the guy and arrested the guy. That was during Sullivan Chime. If you don't... And that's why our police are... Oh, God. Where do you start from? Our police need to be... You see, if we really want to get it right, even if you say all the law students that are unemployed go into policing, because everything is not shooting gun. Let's say in every squad or in every... Say, for example, the way they go in trucks, I don't know what I call it, a team or a gang of police, let one intelligent guy that knows the law be in that team. So that when people when the police are doing things, they will do things according to the law. Because the police need to know the law, need to advise people, need to understand how to, give the right punishment for some, not everything you start slapping somebody, hitting them, and they don't even understand what is wrong. At the end of the day, it goes down to money. Go to your ATM and give me money. You catch a Yahoo boy, you collect his money. How do you solve that issue? If a Yahoo boy in the first place knows that all he needs to do to a policeman to move his way is to give him money, once you catch him or guy, you say, wait, how much you want? He will give you the going way. I don't even know I've actually done 1 hour. and I have 24 seconds, but I think we get the point. Please share this video to your political friends. Follow me and subscribe on YouTube. Give me any topic that you want me to discuss, and let's continue having these discussions. If you believe that Tinubu has done well, ask yourself, how much has he affected the poor man, and what has he really achieved? Thank you so much. Till next time. Bye-bye.